It's time for the news.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdulmajid Tebboune, has been received in Istanbul by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan as part of his two-day visit to the Republic of Turkey. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdulmajid Tebboune, has affirmed that Algeria officially requested to join the BRICS or the new BRICS Development Bank as a shareholder with an initial contribution of $1.5 billion. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry has called for the setting up of an international inquiry on the killing of one Palestinian by the Israeli soldiers in a municipality west of Nablus in the West Bank. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdulmajid Tebboune, has been received in Istanbul by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan as part of his two-day working visit to the Republic of Turkey. Algerian-Turkish relations, which are historical, have been stepped up in recent years with the strengthening of and diversification of areas of bilateral cooperation and the intensification of official visits between officials of the two countries, which allowed for the establishment of a lasting and comprehensive partnership. It's worth recalling that President Abdulmajid Tebboune arrived in Istanbul, Turkey on Friday as part of a working visit he is making to this sister country on the 21st and 22nd of July. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdulmajid Tebboune, has highlighted in an interview granted to China's CCTV Algeria's desire to establish joint projects with China in various fields of activity and cooperation. We are working to establish joint projects with China in all areas and fields, including railways and mining, said President Tebboune during the interview broadcast on Friday by the Chinese channel, stressing that Algeria's new investment law opens up promising horizons for all investors. Affirming that Algeria is at ease in its relations with China, the President of the Republic expressed Algeria's wish to establish an Algerian-Chinese partnership in the space sector, the higher education sector, pharmaceuticals, the training, and the assistance for more achievements, notably the connection between the south and the north with railway networks and also the mining field, adding that Algeria has become one of the biggest poles in the field of medicine in Africa and the Mediterranean. Let's listen to the President of the Republic.
ما فيش ميدان اللي ما نتمناش فيه التعامل مع دولة الصين العظمى، سواء في الفضاء، سواء في التعليم العالي، سواء في مساعدتنا على إنجاز أكثر في ميدان الصيدلة، في ميدان الدواء، في ميدان التكوين، وكل ميادين مفتوحة بالنسبة ونربط مدننا في أقصى الجنوب بالمدن تاع الشمال، كذلك بالسكة الحديدية للنقل ولنقل المسافرين. هذه ما بين المشاريع اللي نتمنى نقوم بها مع الأصدقاء في الصين. فيه مشاريع كذلك استغلال مناجم.
The President of the Republic also highlighted Algeria's desire to establish a partnership with China in African markets, as Algeria, a major power in Africa, can be a link between China and African countries. Algeria has paid a high price for its freedom and of decision, underlined President Tebboune, pointing out that colonization is now trying to come back under a new form and that the African peoples are aware of what is happening. Referring to the historical relations established between the two countries, President Tebboune recalled that China had been the first non-Arab country to recognize the provisional government of the Algerian Republic and among the friendly states that helped Algeria in its development process following its independence. He stressed that Algeria now represents for Africa what China represents for the world, adding that there is great confidence between the two countries.
ما هيش مجاملة، ولكن وصفت الصين بأوصافها الحقيقية بنوع من التواضع، لأن احنا عندنا نفس المسيرة. احنا انطلقنا من الصفر كذلك. الجزائر كانت محتلة لمدة قرن و 32 سنة، من بعد استقلالنا انطلقنا من الصفر. وجدنا دول صديقة مثل الصين اللي ساعدتنا في المسيرة التنموية للجزائر والتحررية. واليوم احنا نفس الشيء بالنسبة لإفريقيا. الجزائر بالنسبة لإفريقيا مثل الصين بالنسبة للعالم، وهذاك علاش عبرت بالتعبير هذا أمام الرئيس سي جين بينغ. الأصدقاء نعرفوهم نعرف أصدقائنا في وقت الشدة، أيام الصعوبات تم نعرف صديق من غير صديق. ولذا عندنا ثقة كبيرة جدا في الصداقة مع الصين، لأن مرت مع مراحل صعبة وعمرها ولا تغيرت يوما ما.
Evoking the relations between China and Arab and African countries, the President of the Republic underlined that Beijing has good relations with those countries and also serves as a mediator between them, such as the mediation established between Iran and Arab countries.
اليوم الصين لها علاقات طيبة مع كثير من الدول العربية، مثل ما لها علاقات مع الدول الإفريقية. اليوم الصين صبحت وساطة حتى بين الدول العربية في بعضها بعض، والدول بين إيران والدول العربية. هذه السياسة اللي نحبها، سياسة تقريب الناس لبعضهم بعض.
With regard to the Palestinian cause, the President of the Republic stressed that Palestine's strength lies in its unity, saying that Algeria was campaigning with certain countries such as China so that Palestine obtains the status of a fully fledged member state of the United Nations.
ونحن نناضل حاليا مع بعض الدول الأخرى مثل الصين أن تكون عضو في الأمم المتحدة ولو مستعمرة، ولكن عضو كامل في الأمم المتحدة، ما تبقاش ملاحظ في الأمم المتحدة، وهذا إن شاء الله سنصل إليها.
And the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has affirmed that Algeria officially requested to join the new BRICS Development Bank as a shareholder with an initial contribution of $1.5 billion, stressing that Algeria's membership of the group, made up of the 5 emerging countries, open up new economic prospects and horizons. The President of the Republic, in an interview with China CCTV, said that Algeria has been working for years alongside China for a better and fairer world where aid is granted to poor countries. Formally launched in 2009, the BRICS group is made up of 5 emerging economic powers, namely Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry has called for the setting up of an international inquiry on the killing of one Palestinian by the Israeli soldiers in a municipality west of Nablus in the West Bank. It held the Israeli authorities fully and directly responsible for such a horrible crime. It considered as an extension of Israel's schemes designed to target the municipality of Sibsaitia and its population as well as its archaeological site. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry denounced the crime, which it stressed translated the unprecedented and huge campaign of hatred and segregation waged by Israel and which allows the Israeli soldiers to fire at any suspected car. The killing of one Palestinian near Nablus was also condemned by the Palestinian National Council. Meanwhile, the head of the Palestinian National Council, Rouhi Fatouh, today hailed the resolution unanimously adopted by the Portuguese Parliament recognizing the Palestinian Nakba or catastrophe in 1948. He was quoted by the news agency Wafa saying that the resolution constitutes a clear recognition of the humanitarian tragedy caused by the Israeli occupation. Meanwhile, the head of the Palestinian National Council said the Portuguese Parliament decision constituted a step forward taken by one European country, hoping that other European countries will follow suit. The resolution adopted by the Portuguese Parliament hailed the Palestinian people's fight for self-determination as provided for by international law and condemned Israel's expansionist policy in the occupied Palestinian territories. To Africa now, and particularly in Sudan, where at least 16 civilians have been killed when rockets fell on their houses in Darfur in the country's western part. Local sources said exchanges of rockets between the government and the rapid support forces claimed lives, including one man who was shot dead by a sniper. The clashes between the two sides continued in Khartoum and are extending to the capital's surrounding areas. According to eyewitnesses, air raids hit several villages north of the state of Al Jazeera, south of Khartoum, where hundreds of thousands of people have sought refuge. In Somalia, the authorities have announced the elimination of 100 members of the terrorist Al-Shabaab group during an operation jointly carried out with the U.S. forces in the central part of the country. According to the American Forces Command in Africa, airstrikes were recently carried out by the U.S. forces at the request of the Somalian government and in support of the Somalian troops. 5 leaders of the terrorist group were eliminated during the operation. Still in Africa, in Mali, the referendum on a new constitution has secured 96.91% of yes votes. According to the definitive results released by the Constitutional Court, the turnout reached 38.23%. The Constitutional Court confirmed the provisional results issued last month by the Independent Authority for Elections. And finally, the Global Forum of Media was today held in Shusha, Azerbaijan, under the theme The New Media in Time of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The forum, attended by experts and local and international media professionals, constituted a space for debate and exchange of visions and experiences on the best practices likely to promote the content of the new media. The event is aimed at providing a platform on global development for the media professionals, the state institutions, and the business world. In this respect, experts affirmed that the use of technologies in the media industry and the global digitalization have caused the emergence of a new media landscape and a new dynamic in the sector throughout the world. With this last piece of news, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Time now for weekly programs, starting with my colleague Mohammed Barzwan with Sports Legends and Achievements. It will be followed by another program by my colleague Jamal Silmani. As for me, I'll meet again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin. Until then, stay tuned to Radio Algeria International, and bye-bye for now.
Radio Algeria International presents Sports Legends and Achievements. Focus on famous world sports athletes who made history and now bask in the reflected glory. Hi, and a warm welcome to World Sports Legends and Achievements. In today's broadcast, we'll highlight the great sporting career of outstanding English footballer, namely Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney is an English footballer widely regarded as among the country's best players. He last played for Premier League club Manchester United and the England national team. Manchester United record goalscorer Wayne Rooney has now rejoined the Everton club for an undisclosed fee 13 years after leaving the Merseyside club. Wayne Rooney played 559 times for Manchester United, scoring 253 goals. He won 5 Premier League titles and each of the Champions League, Europa League and FA Cup once, after joining from Everton for £27 million in 2004. Wayne Rooney is one of the world's most popular football players and has been named the England Player of the Year twice. He had scored 99 goals for local junior league team at the age of 9, which led to the Everton Football Club signing a contract with him. He made his professional debut with Everton in 2002, and within weeks he became the youngest ever goal scorer in the history of the Premier League, a record which has now been surpassed. In 2004, he signed on with Manchester United and found great success with them. His career with Manchester United began in a great way. He scored an unforgettable hat-trick against Fenerbahce in the Champions League. By the end of the 2004-2005 season, Rooney had amassed 17 goals in 43 appearances. He played in the 2006 and 2010 World Cups. He helped Manchester United win 4 Premier League titles in 5 seasons. He became the youngest player to have played in 200 Premier League games in 2008. As a popular player, he is endorsed by Nike and EA Sports. Wayne Rooney was born as the eldest son of Thomas Wayne Rooney and his wife Janet Mary in Liverpool. He is of Irish descent. He has 2 younger brothers. He attended Our Lady and St. Swithin's Primary School, later on to De La Salle Humanities College. Ever since his childhood, he was a supporter of his local club Everton, with whom he signed a contract in 2002. Wayne Rooney made his debut for Manchester United in 2004-2005 in a home game against Fenerbahce in the UEFA Championship League. He scored a hat-trick in a 6-2 victory and was hailed as a sensational debutant. In the 2006 League Cup, he scored twice in his team's 4-0 win over Wigan Athletic in the final. He was named man of the match. He had amassed 16 goals in 36 Premier League games in the 2006-2005 season. He did not have a great beginning in the first half of the 2006-2007 season, but his form improved later on. He scored a hat-trick against Bolton Wanderers, and by the end of the season, he had scored 14 league goals. In the 2007-2008 season, Wayne Rooney missed many matches due to injuries. However, he finished the season with 18 goals and starred in his team's victory over Chelsea, in which Manchester United clinched the Champions League. Wayne Rooney became the youngest player in the league history to have made 200 appearances when he played against the Blackburn Rovers in October 2008. In 2009, Rooney scored his final league goal of the season against Tottenham. Overall, he scored 20 goals in the 2008-2009 season. He also scored a hat-trick, his first in 3 years, in an away match against Portsmouth in 2009. In 2010, he scored 4 goals in his team's win of Hull City. This was the first time he had scored 4 in one match. Wayne Rooney scored his 100th Premier League goal in a 3-1 win over Arsenal in the same season. In a February 2011 match against Manchester City in Manchester Derby, he scored an overhead volley which proved to be the winning goal in that 2-1 win. Within a few weeks, he scored a third goal in a 4-0 win over Wigan Athletic. In April of the same year, he scored his first hat-trick of the season in a 4-2 away win over West Ham United. During the 2011-2012 season, Wayne Rooney guided his team to an 8-2 win over Arsenal by scoring a hat-trick. The first of the hat-trick was also his 150th goal for Manchester United. He scored a hat-trick in his next game as well, a 5-0 away win over Bolton Wanderers. Wayne Rooney scored his first goal of the 2012-2013 season in a 4-2 league win over Stoke City. In December 2012, he scored twice against Reading in a 4-3 win, and in January 2013, he scored twice in a 2-1 win over Southampton. Wayne Rooney won the BBC Young Sports Personality of the Year in 2002 for being touted by many as the most promising English football talent to have surfaced in recent years. He was also a Dutch PFA Young Player of the Year for 2 seasons, 2004 and 2005. This award is given annually by Professional Footballers Association to the best player of the season in English football who is age 23 or under. He has been awarded the England Player of the Year Award 2008 and 2009 that is presented by the Football Association to the most outstanding performers of the England national team. Wayne Rooney's brilliant hat-trick on his debut is certainly one of his best performances. In his first appearance for Manchester United, he scored 3 goals in a Champions League tie with Fenerbahce in 2004, helping his team to a 6-2 victory. And in the 2006 Champions League final against Wigan Athletic, he scored the opening goal of the match, as well as the final goal to guide Manchester United to a 4-0 win. Wayne Rooney was named man of the match for his brilliant performance. In Manchester United's Premier League match against Tottenham in 2009, his team was trailing 2-0 at halftime. Wayne Rooney fought back in the second half by scoring 2 goals and by assisting in 2. His team came back to win the match 5-2. Wayne Rooney scored a winning goal in the semi-final of the 2010 Carling Cup when Manchester United and Manchester City were locked at 3-3 in stoppage time. Wayne Rooney's goal brought the score to 4-3, thereby enabling his team to win and enter the final. All in all, Wayne Rooney is married to high school sweetheart Colleen. They have 1 son, Kai. He is the only 4th player in Premier League history to score a hat-trick in consecutive games. Wayne Rooney has a tattoo of the word "Just Enough Education to Perform," the title of an album by a favorite band. He suffers from hair loss problems and has had 2 hair transplants so far. He is notorious for his on-field temper and has been red-carded by referees twice. And that's all about it for today. Until next time, this is Mohammed Barazwan from Algiers with ace producer Mohammed Yusri saying take care and keep on reaching for the stars.
Today we chose for you the coastal city of Oran, one of the most beautiful cities in northern Africa. Santa Cruz is a historic site that you should visit once in the city of Oran. Asia Bika will tell you more about it in the following report.
The majestic Jebel Marjadjo overlooks the city of Oran, extending to the west, dominating the Oran region of Algeria. The steep rocky cracks of the mountain range eventually taper westward, forming a long flat plateau. Perched on top of Jebel Marjadjo is the imposing Spanish-built Santa Cruz fortress, with the Our Lady of Santa Cruz Basilica nearby, standing as reminders of past conflicts and the seeking of solace. Oran is believed to have been established by Moorish and Andalusian traders at the end of the 1st century, but really started to develop as a strategic settlement when captured by the Spanish in 1509. The Santa Cruz fortress, Santa Cruz being Spanish for Holy Cross, was built in 1563 under the direction of the first Marquis of Santa Cruz, Don Alvaro de Bazan. The strategic position of the fortress, at more than 1,000 feet above sea level, allowed a wide view of the surrounding area and the Mediterranean Ocean shoreline. Following a battle against John of Austria, in which this son of Charles I led a flotilla consisting of 33 galleys against the Algerians, the Spanish set about reinforcing the Santa Cruz fortress to accommodate and thereby protect their city officials and governors. The circumference of the immensely strong, tall and thick walls of the fortress measured more than 2.5 kilometers, with strong towers at regular intervals. Within these strong fortified walls was a central castle serving as the headquarters for the Spanish governor. The beautifully preserved Santa Cruz fortress at the summit of Jebel Marjadjo now welcomes visitors to explore the fascinating museum within its walls. The strategic position of Jebel Marjadjo has played a vital role in the history of the area, especially with regard to how military operations were carried out over the years in defense of the city. For example, an account of the conflict that took place between British and American forces that landed at the nearby port city of Ezio on November 8, 1942, as a prelude to the invasion of Italy during World War II, reveals that at the valley formed by Jebel Marjadjo and Jebel Santan allowed a vantage point from which invading forces would be vulnerable to counterattack or defensive action. While the defenders of Oran used their knowledge of the terrain of Jebel Marjadjo and its surroundings as best they could, the city was seized by the Allied military forces within a matter of days. Certainly, battles of that magnitude no longer disturb Oran and its many inhabitants. Nevertheless, the majestic Jebel Marjadjo still stands guard over this fascinating Algerian city.
Let me tell you more about the city of Oran. Oran is perhaps most famous for being one of the birthplaces of the Rai music style. This inventive form of music is one of the more modern music styles that is popularly enjoyed in the various parts of Algeria and all over the world. The easygoing and liberal atmosphere that pervades the city of Oran is clearly evident in this style of music. Initially performed only by men, it soon became the domain of many women, many of whom have become very bit as popular as their male counterparts. Founded by Moorish Andalusian traders around 937 AD, the city has been in existence for a long time. Due to its position on the coast, it quickly developed into a city with a thriving trade industry and established strong business ties with Spain. Unfortunately, it wasn't too long before the Spanish took occupation of Oran. This soon changed when invading Ottoman forces captured the city, but the Spanish rose to reclaim the city 2 years later, only to abandon it when it suffered from an earthquake in 1790. The French eventually occupied the city in the 19th century. Oran is a lot larger than many think, the second largest city in Algeria. It is an industrial, cultural, and educational center for the country. Though part of it is covered by high-rise apartment buildings and ordinary homes, there are older parts that make for interesting sightseeing. The Great Mosque, built in 1769, is a good place to start. It is open to the public, which is quite unusual in this part of the world. The Marabout Sidi Mohammed El Houari is a very good example of Andalusian architecture. For all things historical, the Dmer Museum has exhibitions that span thousands of years. The Cathedral de Sacré-Cœur is a beautiful old building that has been converted into a public library. Though Oran is a coastal town, the beaches in the immediate vicinity of the city are not terrible good. However, a short trip away from the hustle and bustle will leave you with miles of beautiful sand and refreshing seawater. It may be a bit out of the way, but Oran is a great place to visit while exploring Algeria.